Four Corners was unfortunate. The run was canceled, but the meeting went on, and the meeting will go on regardless, and Labor Day weekend is coming up.
It's getting the word out that really makes us effective and has made us very effective over the past several years. Back in '94, we started at NCOM doing a coast-to-coast biker news, which is a compilation of what's going on around the country. And it's the good and the bad, and thankfully, most of it's been good. We've had a lot of accomplishments over those years. Of course, we also put out information on stuff that we've got to be prepared to fight, or something that's in the works that we've got to get out there and defeat. But a lot of the stuff has been good, positive legislation or activities that we've been involved in, and by getting the word out from one organization that has made it work for them to all the other organizations, not only around the country, but around the world, it gives those organizations something to work for, and something that's good and positive for their membership and for the motorcyclists in their community. We've estimated now that we do it on the e-news service, and it goes out via email to our email list.
ABATE's history, and we're real proud of that. First and foremost, third time was the charm, we got Jagger's Law passed, which increases penalties for negligent and irresponsible motorists that hurt and kill people they share the road with. That's what's commonly known as failure to yield or right-of-way legislation. We got more and more states getting on board passing this kind of law because we're sick and tired of bikers getting killed and stove up and the people doing the damage walking away from it. Let's not forget, a number of years ago, National Coalition of Motorcyclists is the organization that got the ball rolling in advancing this kind of legislation with the philosophy, you kill a biker, you should go to jail, or at least pay a penalty and not just walk away like nothing ever happened. We also got legislation passed that would finally legalize artistic tattooing in Oklahoma. We were the last state in the union to get on board with legalized tattooing, so we're real happy about that. For 2007, we intend to support legislation that will allow motorcyclists, after coming to a controlled intersection, if their bike doesn't trigger the light to turn green, after stopping and determining it's safe to proceed, they should be able to go through that intersection against the light without getting ticketed. So we're going to pursue that. We're going to support legislation banning the use of handheld cell phones while driving. A number of bikers are getting killed and stove up by inattentive drivers that are yakking on cell phones. We're also looking to clarify the Oklahoma Motor Vehicle Safety Statute regarding auxiliary lighting, headlights, and exhaust systems. It's not right that you should increase your visibility on the bike by carrying more lights to increase your margin of safety, and then you have to pay an equipment violation for it. It's not right, and we're going to get that fixed. And finally, we're sponsoring a bill that will significantly reduce turnpike tolls for motorcyclists. The vehicles that cause the least amount of wear and tear on the roadways should not have to pay a disproportionate share for their upkeep. So that's what's going on for next year in Oklahoma. In Missouri, the Missouri Bikers' Rights folks passed Clutch's Law, which is their version of right-of-way or failure to yield legislation. Okay, their bill to authorize freedom of choice regarding helmet wear failed. They're going to make another shot at it in 2007. ABATE, Kansas successfully removed their handlebar height restriction. So if you're driving up around Kansas, you can air your pits out with some ape hangers if you want to now, legally. And next year, ABATE, Kansas also intends to pursue right-of-way or failure to yield legislation. Nebraska, unfortunately, went their bills, which would authorize freedom of choice for adult riders regarding helmet wear, and their failure to yield right-of-way bill to increase penalties for negligent motorists. Both of those went down to defeat in the unicameral legislature. ABATE, Nebraska intends to pursue those legislative issues again in 2007. Iowa was another successful state in passing right-of-way legislation increasing penalties for negligent drivers. That was signed into law this past spring. Incidentally, their governor, Tom Vilsack, this week just threw his hat in the ring. He wants to run for president. ABATE of Iowa is working to include a full training curriculum and drive materials for rider education. That's one thing in our region that we're looking to see all the states continue to pursue. Increased funding, increased sophistication in rider education programs, because the states are paying far less attention on that stuff, focusing on mandatory helmet laws. And with that, I will defer to my friend, brother, and co-director of Region 2, Spudnik, to give us a report on what's happening in the great state of Texas.
All right, Mike.
Well, we only in session once every 2 years, so we've had it easy, or you might think so. Unlike Doc, I think we did fantastic for the elections. I was hoping that in the Senate, U.S. Senate, it would be 50-50, and then we'd have the vice president where we wanted him. But he would have to cast a deciding vote on several issues. In our state, I am very proud to say we went Democrat. And one special case was one that was gerrymandered last time during our session to be a Republican district, and they were already calling one of the Republicans Congresswoman down in the session. But all the bikers came together to fight for this particular man, and we kicked ass. This time, they moved a man into that district who happened to be part of the family of our Speaker of the House, who was an asshole. And he had the president and 2 or 3 other big shots from Washington, D.C. come down and campaign for him. We kicked their ass. Also in my district, it's one that was redistricted to take my congressman out. And unfortunately, the redistricting also put me in Tom DeLay's district, the man who orchestrated the redistricting. So that made it kind of personal. So our congressman moved back into the district so he could run, and the president and our U.S. Senator Kay Bailey Hutchison came down and campaigned, and we kicked their ass, 63% of the vote. So it don't always mean money. Anytime you're losing these races, it's because the bikers didn't get out and do what they should have. Because I'll guarantee you, brother, if you can pull the bikers together and get them out working, they know we're sincere when we speak. We tell them the truth. It's very important that we do this, and it's especially important that the patch holders come together. We work, the SMROs work with volunteers. I have been very fortunate in Texas. All of our members down there are legislative warriors. They do their share and more. And with the COCs, with the president telling their members, you will do this, we've got an unbeatable army. We'll go in this session, even though we ended up with the same governor, we will get a new Speaker of the House, because even the Republicans won't buck us. The Speaker of the House that I anticipate us getting is one who thinks that bikers are just the greatest thing since sliced bread. She tells anyone, I am the greatest lobbyist in the Capitol and the most successful. So that means that if she becomes Speaker of the House, new chairman for the committee, I will have an input on who's going to chair those committees. And Transportation Committee, that man will be gone, and I'll get to ask her who to put in there. That means all of our bills will go through committee. We did really well just by getting out in the street, knocking on doors, talking to people, and doing the work, and did not give a candidate one single penny. You wanted me to say something about this, Richard did?
Yeah, that's what I'm passing out, so talk about it, yeah.
Do it now?
Yeah, might as well.
Okay, he passed them out. How many of you in here have heard of the deal that was signed in March of 2005 down in Waco for the North American Union last week? And this is something I've been working on for over a year. but I never say anything until I can tell you where to check it. George Bush has sold our country out. He signed an agreement with the President of Mexico and the President of Canada to form a North American Union with one currency. They're saying this is an extension of just the NAFTA highway, but they are working right now to build a toll road all the way through Texas. And our governor went around our legislature to do this behind their back. And he signed an agreement with a company in Spain called Centra. Centra is supposed to build this highway. It's going to be a toll road. And it will be, the law enforcement on it will be the Mexican Army. We will not have our law enforcement on this highway at all. But then, what they didn't go on and tell you, our Attorney General told our governor, release this agreement. Well, he said, all right, I released it, but he released all but 100 pages. And Bush didn't release any of his. They're still holding secret meetings in Canada right now, trying to go around Congress, trying to find a way to set aside the Constitution so the Supreme Court can't stop them. And when they came up with this funny colored money, they said it's so it'd be harder to counterfeit. We're getting more counterfeit money than ever, and it's coming from overseas because they already got all that funny money. They know how to make that. It wasn't. It was so, like I said on my TV program, to get us used to the funny money, and that's what it's going to be, the Amero. There are plans to extend this highway all the way through Mexico, all the way up through Canada. And it is going to be the biggest land grab in the history of the United States since white people took it away from the Indians. And you don't know anything about it, get up, get moving. It's not too late, but it's going to take us. Just remember, I've always said, bikers are the last hope of America to remain a free country. And you better get off your ass now, because it's gone. 14 corporations are plotting this. We will have open borders. They can move their company to Mexico for cheap labor. The United States then will have to supply health care for all these other countries. And they will have the say-so about how this place runs. We will eliminate our Constitution, our Supreme Court, and our Congress. The sellout is happening right now. Wake up, people. See it coming. Don't just take my word for it. It tells you right there where to check it. I never put out anything I can't tell you where to check, and now it's there. Go look at it, get pissed, and get ready. Because if it's going to come to a war in the streets, we remember, let us do it. Don't leave it for our grandkids to take care of.
We opened the door to all this.
Okay, but who
Bush,
finished it?
Bush is selling us out, to
Who
build out my
finished it?
mind. I want to remind you who opened the door to this.
Hey, Bush was the finest governor we ever had, but he sure has screwed us as president.
Absolutely right.
Doc, I had just one thing.
Yeah, go ahead.